Hi, tell me why you're here today and your message.
Well, I'm Tom Bower, and I'm a longtime activist for Screen Actors Guild. I'm an actor, and I've been an actor for 40 years, but I've served on the National Board of Directors. I've negotiated the contract that's in question now a number of years ago. So basically, I want to save what we have. We should be talking about gains in an industry that is professing that they're doing record numbers at the box office, and they are. It's the one entity of the multinational conglomerates that is in profit. Theatrical box office is booming in bad economic times. So we should be getting gains along with them. However, we're trying to save what we have. It is the intention of management, the AMPTP, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, to eliminate our residuals for the replay of our performance. That represents over half of our income and half of our pension and health contribution. It's the entire welfare and well-being of the union, and they want to take that away. And they plan to do this a year and a half ago. They announced it. It was written about in the New York Times. I'll give you a copy of the article. And they've waited this long to put their plan in action, because now is the time when they negotiate our contract. So we're fighting to keep our residuals and our pension and health.
And then what's this about our own members kind of speaking up for the unfair deal? The high celebrity actors been hearing. Is that right? I mean, can they do that? Shouldn't they stay neutral if they're producers?
There are a number of people, including my friend and partner Ed Harris, who has written from Bulgaria, that everybody should be looking at this video of the elephant in the room that talks about exactly what is about to happen with new technology and how that's going to affect us. And instead of us being a part of those advancements, we're being eliminated from them if the MPTP had their way. So there are some celebrities that seem to think that there's no problem with this. They seem to think, well, these are bad economic times all over the world, so we should just wait until next time. Well, there is no next time. We've been given promises. Every negotiation we've ever had will wait until next time. Next time never comes. We have to do it now. We have to preserve at least what we have. We have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, we get the terrible contract that AFTRA has. Best case scenario is we keep what we have. Why should we give up what we have when the worst thing that can happen is that we end up with somebody else's contract?
That's right. And then also, did they ever go back to the DVDs? Did they ever give, is it now that do actors get a percentage, or is it still?
Well, we get a residual. When in 1981, when we made the contract for DVDs, it was VHSs back then.
Okay.
And then they converted to DVDs. When they converted, their volume tripled. And their profits went from 44% to 66%. Now, because we were being represented by a guy who was sent to us from management, Robert Pisano, he went to the table, the bargaining table, and said, we don't need anything. We're fine the way we are. So we gave up the chance to get a piece of that profit several years ago. Now he's been rewarded for what he did. He's got the second most powerful job in the industry. He is the president of the MPAA, Motion Picture Association of America. They do all the lobbying for the industry. They call all the shots. He has an office right here. And he was the guy who hired David White, who is now coincidentally been placed as our national executive director to replace Doug Allen.
How could that happen? I mean, isn't that unfair?
It's not only unfair, it should be unconstitutional, unlawful. He was placed in his position without proper vetting and authority of the entire board of directors. So therefore, the membership is not being properly represented.
Right. And then membership's voice is shut down because Alan Rosenberg
Been gagged.
I know.
Has no say in the procedure. It can only be decided at law. There is such corruption at work here internally. And you know, the problem with the laws are they say, well, it's a labor union, you solve your own problems internally, you have to exhaust all efforts to solve those problems. We have to take it to a higher court.
Has the White House or President Barack Obama spoken about this at all?
Well, he has indirectly, in that he's talking about relining the entire Justice Department. That's what's really needed. We need the Justice Department to swoop down on this industry and clean out the corruption, which is what Bobby Kennedy and Nicholas Katzenbach did back in the 60s. It needs a thorough house cleaning.
Great. Thank you so much for it's good to hear, because what's going on is unethical and something does need to happen.
Definitely, and most members are caught unaware. It's not their business to learn all of this stuff. We're artists, we're actors and performers, and we try to do our job well. You know, that's the other thing about it. Once upon a time, the AMPTP nurtured this industry as their own. And the actors, the celebrities, nurtured their union as their own. We've lost touch with that now.
So now it seems that what you're saying about with David White, the industry is trying to control the union, when another thing is the industry is always saying it's a business, but it seems that it doesn't practice and follow through with fair labor practices. That if it's a business, that's enforced by the government. So I don't know what that's all about.
Well, and the government has to do their job, and we need this new administration to enforce antitrust violations, to come down on antitrust, collusion, price fixing, restraint of trade. The consumers at large are cheated by what is going on. You know, we're the most powerful kind of corporate power there is. We're an instrument of that. The advertising companies that speak for all the corporations control the media, and they control us, and our agents have gone into business with them. So we're out here on our own, you know.
And then what about more union jobs for American actors? Because I hear that there's a lot of runaway productions. I know a lot of my friends who are almost homeless. Myself, you know, I hardly get any jobs as well. So what about the runaway productions? Is that a concern to you?
Well, no, runaway production is less of a problem for the Screen Actors Guild, because for 10 years, for 7 years, I fought alone, and in the final 3 years got critical mass to implement Global Rule 1 that says our contract goes with us wherever we go, anywhere in the world. Now, in the beginning, they would only take 2 stars and hire anybody for all the other roles. Well, the quality suffered. These stars were unhappy about who they were given to support them in the roles, and the business suffered. And little by little, they got back out of the habit of replacing us and back into the habit of taking us with us. So I was in Morocco with 20 SAG contracts. I was in Poland with 12 SAG contracts. So little by little, they've gotten back into the habit of taking the best quality for the supporting roles.
That's great to hear.
Now we need to get that kind of support for all the other unions, you know, that are out of work.
Great. Thank you so much. It's great to get your perspective and know the real deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.